Hey everybody, and welcome to Comics from the Future. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our big show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that you can pre-order by this weekend so you don't miss out on any of the comic goodness. As a reminder, your orders are due Sunday at 6 o'clock. That way you don't miss out on anything. So head over to infinityflux.net right now and follow along. A lot of really great stuff coming up on this show. This is probably one of the heaviest of hitting shows. I feel like we said that a few times recently,
Right.
but this one, there's so many of like, well, if this book didn't come out, then this would be the top one. If this one didn't come out, this would be the top one. But like, the top ones are all gold tier books.
Yeah, this is a huge FOC weekend, and next week is a huge week for books. So our Monday show is going to be big too. Little tease there. Just all kinds of stuff going on in comics right now, and it's great.
Yeah, so excited. So let's get into our featured comics. Starting off with a absolutely big one.
Absolutely big. This is Absolute Power #1. This is the actual #1 issue of the main Absolute Power line that's going to be coming out later this year, July 3rd, in matter of fact. This is written by Mark Waid. The art is by Dan Mora. The dynamic duo of comics right now is how I think about them. And in this one, it starts off saying the Trinity of Evil has won. And the Trinity of Evil is Failsafe and Queen Brainiac and Amanda Waller. And the combined might of Failsafe and Queen Brainiac gives Amanda Waller the tools that she needs to steal all of the powers from the world's heroes and villains. And when she does this, chaos erupts in the streets, and there's a big misinformation campaign, and public opinion actually gets swayed to her side. So the people are actually with her in doing this. And she methodically targets each hero one at a time, and she starts with Superman. And, you know, what is Superman going to do without his powers? And, of course, the other heroes are going to lose theirs later. But a resistance is forming, and Batman is out for vengeance. So, you know, leave it up to Batman. Don't worry, Batman's here. I don't have powers anyway, guys. We're okay. But I am so excited for this. We were on a retailer call with Mark Waid a week or two ago. I don't quite remember when. And just listening to him just talk about this, I was already sold, and he sold me again on this. He said that there's going to be some big things coming out of it when it's all said and done. And I was about to say it all starts right here, but it actually doesn't. It starts in that Absolute Power Ground Zero one-shot that was already on FOC. So check that out first. And then here is, you know, and they also said with this issue #1, the setup is already done by the time this comes out. And in this, they're just going to hit the ground running, which I think is great. Like, there's going to be action from the word go in this one. So this is going to be awesome. I'm
excited
very
too
excited
about this because we know the setup for this, but this is a 4-part series. I don't know what's going to actually happen in this.
Right.
It's all a mystery, you know, how it's going to build from this initial idea.
Right.
So I'm excited. A lot of mystery surrounding it, but sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, we know the crux of the story. We know what the story's about, but we don't know what is actually going to happen in the book.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm over the moon excited for this and cannot wait for this. So we have a bunch of covers. This is our A cover by Dan Mora. We have a Jim Lee cover. There is a Stephen Bliss cover. There's a Puppeteer Lee. There is a Chris Samney, which I think that one's really cool. Chrissy Zulo. That one's good too.
They talked about this on the call that this
That's
was
right.
inspired because of how popular Chrissy Zulo's Halloween covers, the trick-or-treat covers. So I'm guessing we'll be seeing quite a few from
sure.
Chrissy Zulo.
There is a Dan Mora design variant. So this is, you might have to crane your head on this one. This one shows their suits. It's like their non-powered suits because they've all lost their powers. So this is what they wear instead. I'm not really sure why. I guess that we'll wait and see.
He did hint at, maybe with these suits they get some power, but not up to the the level that they once did. But this might give them a little bit of power.
I like that Flash suit. Like, I wouldn't mind if that were just a suit after this. So the Dan Moore design, there is a John Timms connecting variant, and this is going to connect. There's going to be 12 of these. It's going to be 4 across, 3 down. It's going to make one big image, and it's going to go across this and the Team 7 tie-in series and the 3-issue...
And the Ground Zero.
And the Ground Zero, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll see more of these as time goes on. And then there's a Daniel Semper Power Participation unlockable variant. So
Yeah, this one stores have to like opt in to
okay.
get. Of course, we're opting in, so you can be sure you can get this one.
Yeah, and I know that, it's we're in the middle of Blood Hunt right now, and now DC has an event. But I am telling you guys, the way what we heard on that call just made it sound extremely exciting.
Yeah.
What this will be, what's coming after. They said there's going to be a bunch of new books launched out of this. Some we're expecting, some we won't. Just all kinds of cool stuff with Absolute Power.
Next up, I mean, another giant number one. I mean, this is the beginning of a whole new chapter for the X-Men with X-Men number one. So this is by Jed McKay and the art is by Ryan Stegman. And this is our kind of big return to the X-Men, to a new status quo of some sorts after the Krakoan age. And this is going to be a great jumping on point. I would say there hasn't been a really good jumping on point in 4 or 5 years for X-Men, but this is, if you're jonesing for some new X-Men, this is where you want to start. I feel like this and Uncanny are going to kind of be the flagship books leading this new era for the X-Men. We don't know a whole lot about what this is going to entail. We know after the Uncanny X-Men issue 700 that came out this week, some of what the status quo for the mutants are at this point. But in this, we're going to see Cyclops do what he does best, do what he knows best, is leading a new group of X-Men, setting up a new home base in Alaska in a former Orcus base, and basically try to become that team that they once were, defending mutantdom and all of that. So there's going to be some new enemies kind of positioning themselves that the X-Men are going to have to go up against. Plus, you've got this great team of Cyclops, Beast, Magneto, Psylocke, Kid Omega, Temper, Magic, and Juggernaut. So a really cool cast, great art. This just kicks off a whole new thing. We've got X-Men, we've got Phoenix, we've got Uncanny X-Men, we've got NYX, we've got a new Wolverine.
Was it Essential X-Men? Was that the Kitty Pryde one?
Essential X-Men, yes, the Kitty Pryde one. So much coming out, but it all starts here, and I'm stoked to get in on some fresh X-Men. So, of course, we've got a bunch of covers for this. This is our A cover by your interior artist, Ryan Stegman, which I'm so excited about.
So excited for that, yeah.
We've got a blank cover by nobody. We have a J. Scott Campbell Psylocke variant. We've got a John Tyler Christopher negative space variant. We've got a logo variant. I'm glad they went to this very classic looking logo too. We've got a Peach Momoko variant. Looks like Magic and Psylocke are going to play a big part in this. I mean, they're on a lot of the covers. We have a Scott Koblish variant, and this is really cool. So this is a wraparound where you can see every X-Men ever.
Yep.
We also have, of course, a Scotty Young. It's a new Marvel number one, so there's a Scotty Young here.
Gotta have that.
And we also have a Tony Daniel variant, which is really cool to see Tony Daniel do very traditional X-Men characters.
Yeah. And we have another big number one. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like we were talking about. If, this would have been the first one we talked about, if not for Absolute Power, and X-Men would have been the top, or this would have been the top, if not for... Yeah, all kinds of crazy stuff here. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number one. Speaking of new eras, this is a new era of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The long-running IDW series wrapped up about a month ago with issue number 150. This week we got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Alpha, which kind of, gives a little bit of a tease as to what's to come in this book, and also the Mutant Nation book coming in September. But this new era starts right here. It's written by Jason Aaron. The art in this first issue is by Joelle Jones, and issues 1, 2, 3, and 4 are each going to focus on a different turtle. And then number 5 brings the team back together, and then you're going to get a new story there. Number 1 here focuses on Raphael. And in this one, the Turtles, they've all left New York to pursue their own interests, but forces are gathering that are going to pull them back together. And in this one specifically, we're going to see Raphael, who is in prison. Why? We don't really know, or at least I don't know. I don't think it was shown in like issue 150, so we don't know why. But while he's in prison, he's attacked, and he's going to have to figure out a way to get out of prison so that he can tell his brothers that trouble is coming. So if you're looking for a new jumping on point for Turtles, like we said with X-Men, this is a great place to start as well. And issues 2, 3, and 4, the artists will be different. And then number 5, I believe it's Clip Chang starting with number 5. So a little bit of a kind of like the old school like one shots or mini series where back in the Mirage days where they had Raphael and all the different turtles, but. One issue each per turtle. This one's Raphael, and it's going to be cool. So we have a bunch of covers. This is by Raphael Albuquerque. That's your A cover. There's a Joel Jones. So that's what the interior art on this book is, or on this issue is going to look like. There is a Kevin Eastman cover. There is a Gonzo cover. That looks really cool. There is a Randolph cover, a Campbell cover, and a Jones cover. Yeah. I think that's Joel Jones too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really interesting. And two, based on the Alpha issue, it sounds like when the Turtles dispersed and went their own ways, they all ended up pretty bad places.
Yeah, because Donatello's not a good place right now either, based on that Alpha issue.
Yeah, and it sounds like Raphael's in a pretty similar situation.
Yeah.
So let's see how the Turtles manage this.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because this is not a reboot.
It is not a reboot.
It's a continuation, but a jumping on point.
Yeah.
And I feel like at this point, they're not quite teenagers anymore. I feel like they've grown up quite a bit. So I'm excited to see kind of that, next stage of their life.
Yeah, but I'm glad you said that though, because all the continuity that was built up in that long-running IDW series that sticks. That's still continuing. They're just continuing from that.
Yeah. Next up, we have a new Thundercats series. This is Thundercats Cheetara #1. This is going to be by Sue Lee and Domenico Carboni, and this is Cheetara's first solo series, which is really cool. Usually the Thundercats kind of move as a whole, but this
I don't know that any Thundercat has ever had a solo series.
I don't know if any, maybe there was ever like a Snarf one shot or something, but
I don't think like there was ever a Lion-O series or a Panthro or Tiger. I mean,
yeah, not that I'm aware of, but they've moved around publishers quite a bit. So in this, we get the kind of secret origin of Cheetara before the discovery of Thundera, or of Third Earth, or the destruction of Thundera. In this, it sounds like she is kind of part of a noble family and is plagued with visions of the ancient past and the near future. So maybe she even kind of sees the destruction of Thundera or what happens there. And she's going to have to figure out her place in an unsure universe. So definitely kind of a Cheetara year 1.
Yeah.
I think they're also supposed to explore some of her like speed powers, where all that comes from. So this is super cool. I'm very excited about this. I like the main Thundercats series, and I like that they're expanding upon that as well. So this is our A cover. We also have a Lee cover. We have a Puebla cover. This, you can see she's kind of got her like a royal,
very regal.
And we have a Galman cover, which it's a super cool look for Cheetara.
Yeah, I like
that.
That
big hair is really cool.
Next is Hulk Blood Hunt #1. I believe this is going to be a 3-issue miniseries, so this is separate from the ongoing Hulk series right now. This is Hulk's Blood Hunt tie-in, written by Philip Kennedy Johnson. The art is by Danny Earls. And in this one, Hulk and Charlie have arrived in an old town called Old Tucson. And there is a population 1. There's one guy there who has a really big story to tell. But before the night ends, they're gonna learn that there is a lot more to this small old town than meets the eye. I don't think Transformers is gonna pop up. But there's even more under the desert floor. So it sounds like it's gonna maybe stick with its horror. I mean, Hulk is kind of a horror book, and now you got vampires, so it's kind of mixing these two horror type things.
Well, you know that story in the Blood Hunters this week had Hulk underground in a very spooky place. So
and we don't know how he got there, so maybe that has something to do with this. Maybe that took place after this or something. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, here is Hulk's turn at Blood Hunt. So if you're trying to get all the tie-ins, don't miss this one. This is our A cover. There is a Saturday Morning cover by Galloway, and then there is a Muhammad Asrar variant. But that's an homage to Hulk Annual #1.
Yeah, it's a really cool cover. Next up, you've got this really cool wraparound cover for The Big Burn. Of course, this is a new distillery book. It's magazine size. This is by Joe Henderson and Lee Garbett. I previewed some sample pages of this. I love Lee Garbett's
Yeah,
art, and
I
it's
love it.
fantastic in this. So this follows our two characters you can see on the cover up front. This is Owen and Carly. They're a modern day Bonnie and Clyde, gangster couple. But when, as inevitably is going to happen, they get caught. Uh, they think it's all over, but the actual devil, who that is in the background, makes them an offer for freedom, but the price is their souls. Which they're like, yeah, who cares? But once they lose them, they realize, oh, our ability to love each other was because we had souls. So now they are going to put together a team of, sounds kind of like hellbound characters to break into hell to steal their souls back. So really cool. I love the supernatural heist. Like that's
Yeah.
such a cool concept. So I think this sounds really cool. Like most distillery books, this is just a little mini series, but I'm very excited about this one. So we've got a few covers for this. This is our A cover by Lee Garbett. We also have this. This is the Tualote cover. You can see that is also a wraparound. And we also have this really nice Jay Lee cover, which I don't know what this is about. Looks like we've got some maybe Elvis impersonators.
Yeah, Pink Cadillac.
Yeah, so who knows, but it sounds really cool, and I like the tone of it.
Yeah. Next is Free Agents #1. This is a new ongoing series over at Image. This is written by Kurt Busiek and Fabian Nicieza. The art is by Stephen Mooney and Triona Farrell. This is going to be a $3.99 book, but it's oversized. It's giant size. I'm not sure how many pages, but it does say it is bigger than normal, basically. This is about a team of young veterans who are the survivors of an intergalactic war. And now they're stranded on Earth, and it says that they are free agents for the first time because they are no longer bound to whatever empire or whatever it was that they were serving. However, their greatest battle is going to begin when relics from that war appear on Earth and threaten their chance at better lives. So I don't know if this is going to like maybe based on the cover, it kind of looks like it fits in with like 90s Image stuff. But
so there's an interesting thing. We won't be showing it on here, but there is an incentive cover. It's a 1 in 10 or 1 in 25. It actually has Savage Dragon on the cover.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if this is almost like Local Man, where
That's what I
it's
was
like
thinking, yeah.
it's like the Image universe, but later on.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I think that it's Eric Larson doing the cover with Savage Dragon maybe speaks to that a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. So just another cool. I just like that Image has been doing that lately with Local Man and Dutch, and I can't remember the other one.
Blood Squad 7 or whatever.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, but that came out a couple weeks ago. We read that. Yeah, so I just like the Image is kind of like, hey, let's put the band back together, but just make them older. I just think that's really cool. So here's another one to go with that. So this is our A cover right here, and we have a Kevin Maguire cover featuring Chalice, because that's what it says on the cover.
Oh,
So
I was about to say, you already know the characters. Okay, next up, we have a return to the Millerverse with Mark Millar's Nemesis Rogues Gallery. And this is actually within the continuity that had Big Game and everything, which I feel like was a really big, no pun intended, game changer for that. As we saw, everything was actually within the same universe. So this is by Mark Millar and Ilario Giordano. And it's a follow-up to Big Game. Now Nemesis is broken. I mean, Nemesis was horrible.
Yeah.
He did some horrible things. But now Nemesis is broken and is hell-bent on destroying everyone who wronged him. Which, I don't know if they wronged him or just looked out for themselves and didn't want to get killed by him. But sounds like, he's going to go back on the hunt. And the masks of those characters remind me a little bit of The Wanted with the gas mask and everything. I don't know if we're going to see a return to maybe some of the other properties, because they're still out there now.
Yeah, I was just looking at his it looks like you can see his pupils, and he's like staring at you menacingly.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
That is really creepy. So if you've been a fan of this universe of stories, you'll maybe want to check this one out. So this is our A cover, and we also have a very uncomfortable Jay Lee cover.
Oh, is that an eyeball he's stepping on?
Yep. I don't like the way his neck is turned.
Yeah.
And how little his head is.
Next is Batman number 150. So this is kind of a big, not necessarily anniversary, but a big milestone issue. There's two stories in this. In the first one, it's kind of like sounds like it's a big one and done story. A two-bit crook becomes the most dangerous man in Gotham when he discovers Batman's secret identity, and can Batman bring him in and take him down?
We saw that at the end of the Scorched Earth part, after the end of the Gotham War, where a guy went down into the basement. He walked in. He said, "Bruce Wayne's Batman."
I forgot all about that.
Yep.
But you're right. Yeah, so they're picking that back up. Yeah.
Story.
So that story is going to be here. And then the backup story is an Absolute Power tie-in that sees Batman and Catwoman teaming up on the heist of their lives against Amanda Waller. So I'm not really sure what they're stealing. But yeah, so a little bit of an Absolute Power tie-in right there. Issue 151 is going to be a full Absolute Power tie-in, I think, for the 3 issues after that. But yeah, just a really cool sounding issue of Batman. We wanted to let you know, especially because of the Absolute Power tie-in. So we have our A cover right here. There's a Dustin Nguyen cover. There's a Mattia D. Elias cover. And there is a Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. I cannot wait for these. There's going to be a bunch of these spread across a bunch of different books. The style guide from Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, this is the Batman that I saw growing up all the time on my Superpowers action figures. So I'm definitely going to get all these because they're awesome.
Yeah. Okay, next up we have the Ultimates number 2. So the Ultimates number 1 came out this week. We already sold out of all the A cover. And that 2 days, and we ordered a lot. We still have some of the variants left. But that just goes to show that people are on board for the Ultimate Universe, this new Ultimate Universe. And I'm really excited about this issue. So the first issue is definitely kind of a, let's catch you back up with all the stuff that's going on. Kind of get your mind set, like, here's the timeline. But now I'm really excited to get into character stuff.
Yeah.
With these kind of new versions of the characters. That sounds like what this is going to be a lot about. So Captain America, who was frozen like he was originally in World War II, is now back, and the world looks much different. So he does what I think Captain America would do. He goes to the White House seeking answers and to reckon with what the Maker has done with the world. Plus, it says the Ultimates will face off against Midas, and it's Midas all capital. And I tried to look it up, and there's Marvel characters called Midas, but this seems more of an organization.
Isn't that who we saw in the Free Comic Book Day book?
I think that might be those.
Or was that the Hand?
That was the Hand, but that facility they were in, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So it also says they will learn the dark history of the United States on Earth 6160, and who is the hero Midas has captive, using them as a power source. And I'm kind of wondering, is that who we saw in the Free Comic Book Day book?
I think so, and that's when we talked about this on Wednesday. I started thinking, is a small chunk of this issue going to be what we saw in the Free Comic Book Day book? Because other than Midas in the Hand, it sounds exactly like what happened. So I'm not real sure, but
so there's a hint. I mean, it's not really a spoiler to say, because it was Free Comic Book Day, what happened in there where the original Human Torch got reignited from this base. And let's look at these variant covers and see what we think. So this is our A cover, which I automatically think is awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Because they kind of had that moment in the first issue where Captain America just kind of freaked out.
Which was a nice homage to Avengers number 4.
Yeah.
When he jumped off the table and was doing this and they had to hold him back.
So there's a spoiler cover, which may reveal some of this. But check out this cover. I'm almost wondering if they put the Human Torch in an Iron Man suit.
And it looks gold, Midas gold, Midas turns to gold.
So, I don't know, but this is just all really cool, and I'm very excited about it. So, if you're excited about all the Ultimate stuff too, definitely
the ground
pre-order.
is all on fire.
Yep.
And there's flames right there, so yeah.
So maybe we're getting a hint to that.
Maybe. All right, so this is Scarlett number 2. And the first one came out this week, right? And it was super awesome. Another great entry into the Energon universe. And in this one, we don't really know a lot about this particular issue. It just says that Scarlett goes even deeper undercover in the Arashikage clan to try to find Jinx and to try to figure out what the Arashikage clan is doing. But the man known as Blank may have other ideas. And I don't mean his name is Blank, like the solicitation says. The man known as, and then it doesn't have a name, may have other ideas, and I wonder if it's who we saw at the end of the first issue.
I think there's a good chance it is.
And we'll show you here. So this is our A cover, and then there is a Carl Kerschel spoiler variant. Have we seen this yet? Do we have the preview? Do we have it in
I have not seen this one yet, no.
So I don't know what this is unless it's the character that we saw at the end of the first one, which I don't know what else it could be other than that. So, and I get why they don't want to spoil it, because that's a really cool thing. That's a really cool character. So we'll have to wait and see. We don't know yet.
Next up, we got other number ones, because there's still a lot more this week. We're going to continue on with All the Things We Didn't Do Last Night, one shot. So this is by Maria Lovett, and this is a collection of the 3-part story that was in the Image 30th Anniversary Anthology series. I like that they're doing this. They did this with Hack Slash.
Yeah.
And now they're doing it with this. So, if maybe you didn't buy all those, you missed a part, you can check this out. I love Maria Lovett. And in this, a jewelry thief and a hitman, oblivious to each other's careers, their secret lives, meet and have a meet cute and promise to go on a date until both witness each other's crimes.
Oh.
So It sounds like a really interesting one-shot story. I'm definitely going to pick this up. All of her stuff, it just has such a unique style. So I'm very excited about this. And we got a couple of covers for it. They're all by Maria Lovett. The first two are the A cover and then our B cover. And then there's also an Orlana variant.
Next is Giant Size Silver Surfer #1. This is just continuing the giant size line of books that we've been getting this year. This is written by Matt Groom, but the artist wasn't listed for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Terrax the Tamer is determined to escape the Silver Surfer's shadow once and for all, but to do so, he has created a deadly trap that the Silver Surfer cannot escape. So I didn't know he was called Terrax the Tamer. I thought it was Terrax the Terrible or something like that.
Yeah.
But Terrax, Terrax versus Silver Surfer, it doesn't get any better than that, just classic cosmic
Herald
stuff.
I guess 2 former Heralds of Galactus.
And this is also going to reprint Silver Surfer #80 from, that was probably around, by that time they were probably in the early to mid 90s at that point, in which the Silver Surfer is caught in the crossfire of Terrax and Morg the Executioner. So you get a little reprint there as well. These have been great, just one and done stories. You don't really have to know anything going into them. These are just great to pick up and read and have fun with. So this is our A cover right here. I believe that's Brian Hitch.
Yep.
There is a David Barden Deadly Foes cover of Silver Surfer, and then Paul Renaud has this cover. I like that one.
I am oddly a big fan of Terrax.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but he's just really cool. I like all of the Heralds.
I like big guys with axes, like even in barbarians and fantasy books or whatever.
Looks like Darkseid's little brother.
Yeah.
But
maybe his cousin.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this. I love just more Silver Surfer. Okay, next up is, they're going all in with Gatchaman. And this is Gatchaman Galactor. This is going to be a 4-issue miniseries. I'm not super familiar with all the Gatchaman stuff. Back when I was growing up in America, it was Battle of the Planets, and it was all redone and everything. So I'm learning about this as we go. But this is by Steve Orlando and Kath Lobo. And in this, it's focusing on Galactor, which is the kind of crime organization that is the antagonist to the Gatchaman team. Berg Kotsay, which is the character on here, one of the leaders of the group, uncovers a conspiracy within the organization after an attempt on his life. So he decides to go undercover to find out who is behind it. And it says this is a miniseries that expands on the ongoing series. So it sounds kind of like almost like your Duke and Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
You get to see both sides of the conflict. So if you're a big Gatchaman series fan, you'll want to check this out. So we've got our A cover here and a Riley Rossmo
That looks really
which
cool.
I wouldn't mind seeing Rossmo take on this property.
And it's just crazy. We have, we've got Space Ghost, we've got 2 Gatchaman books, we've got 2 Thundercats books. We've got Dick Tracy and Johnny Quest, and I think I'm leaving some out, but we got a whole bunch of cool stuff. What a great time to be.
It is. Notable 2s and 3s are next.
Well, the first one of these is Annihilation 2099 #2. So each issue of this series, I believe is like a one and done, just like what they did with the Spider-Man 2099, the Miguel O'Hara Spider-Man 2099, I think, where he took on a different foe. In this one, this is the first appearance of Star-Lord 2099, who is described as Wakandan tech goddess. You can see her on the cover right there. She was born to a fallen star and raised on the planet Wakanda. And she faces off against Quasar, the living star, which you can see right there. So not really,
cool.
we don't know much more about that. The first one featured a new Nova 2099, and now we're getting a new Star-Lord. So be on the lookout for that if you like the 2099 stuff. This is our A cover, and we also have a Ken Lashley frame variant, just like all the other ones.
Those are always really nice to get a good picture of what the characters look like.
But it's a bummer they're not foil like they were in the 90s, though.
Yeah, well, can't win them all.
Can't have them all,
Next up, we've got Wolverine Blood Hunt number 3. So we checked out number 1 of Blood Hunt Wolverine this week. And it sounds like it's going to go some pretty crazy places. This is the final issue of it. It's just a 3-part miniseries. So Wolverine and Nightguard, who we saw team up in the first one, have made it to the heart of the vampire base, which we know Atlantis is going to be a big part of this. I think the Black Panther series is also kind of referring to Atlantis. But Wolverine and Nightguard are going up against water vampires, and untold horrors await on the surface of this, wherever the bases they're going to. So
that's interesting, because the first issue of Wolverine Blood Hunt wasn't anything about. I mean, he fought vampires, but there was none of this stuff going on.
They're pretty far away from anything like this. So apparently, it's going to do some traveling in upcoming issues. So this is our A cover for that, and we have this really cool Nick Bradshaw variant.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Well, next is Union Jack the Ripper Blood Hunt number 3, wrapping up, I believe this is the end of his miniseries. And it says that Union Jack's one-man war on vampires comes to a head, but what will he have to sacrifice to save his country?
Maybe his head.
Ooh, maybe. We haven't gotten the second issue yet, so we can only imagine, but we just want to let you know about this tie-in as well. This is the A cover, and we have a Philip Tan variant. I like that one a lot. I love that design.
Next up, we have X-Men Heir of Apocalypse number 3. And now we kind of know, after this last X-Men issue, what this entails, what Apocalypse's plan is, where he wants to make sure there's a representative kind of himself and his ideals still on Earth. So we've got the issue 1 coming out next week. We'll be going over on our Monday show. But this one, it sounds like Angel is going to play a big part, because he has kind of come to peace with his time as Archangel, but he will stop at nothing to prevent Apocalypse from doing that to someone else. So it sounds like this contest may go a little sideways when Angel decides to step into it. So I'm really excited to check out what this is all about, how it ties into the overall kind of From the Ashes X-Men storylines going on. But this is our A cover for that. And we have a Nick Klein Stormbreakers variant, which you're going to be seeing a lot of these Wolverine Deadpool covers. Yeah.
Next is My Adventures of Superman number 2. The first issue came out this week, and it's really fun, just continuing season 1 of the show. I haven't started season 2 yet. In this one, the mysterious android from the first issue is captured by the military. We saw that near the end of the first issue. But Superman can't just bust in there to save him, and there's a reason why he wants to. I don't want to say it, but if you read the first issue, that does make sense. But like I said, Superman can't just bust into a government facility and take what he wants. So this looks like a job for mild-mannered Clark Kent.
Oh.
So maybe Clark Kent is going to go in and try to report on some stuff and expose some things.
I always love when Clark is needed rather than Superman.
Yeah, that's always
Sometimes subtlety is needed.
So this is our A cover. We have a Megan Huang variant, and there is a design variant featuring Lois.
Next up, this very minimal cover here, it'll have trade dress later, is The Boy Wondered number 3. I've really enjoyed this series. Issue 2 about Red Hood that came out this week was really good as Damian. Kind of is learning about what it means to be Robin from all of the former Robins. This one is going to be, of course, Tim Drake. So Damian doesn't like feeling outsmarted, but Tim Drake is arguably the smartest of the Robins. I mean, he figured out who Batman was on his own, all of that. And this sounds really cool, because this character hasn't appeared in it so far. They'll have to work together to face Lex Luthor. So Damian and Tim versus Lex Luthor is just like, oh, that's a super cool setup to a story. But I'm very excited about this. I actually really like that they're using the Red Robin costume to they've really differentiated all the different characters and their very iconic looks. So this is our A cover for that, and it's the only cover we have at the moment.
Next is Space
Space
Ghost
Ghost.
number 3. Space Ghost number 3. Number 2 came out this week. It was fantastic. This one says, Enter the Widow. Is she friend or foe? Is that a character from the cartoon?
You know, there's such a wider group of characters than that we saw too often. I want to say that was a character, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I hate that I don't know because I watched Space Ghost a lot when I was little, but I don't remember. But we are going to see her in this series, and the Ghost Crew takes their fight to RoboCorps. But will their new ally, the Widow, be the key they've been missing in bringing down RoboCorps once and for all? So just sounds like more awesome action. Like we've had 2 action-packed issues so far, and hopefully it keeps going because it's so cool. This is our Matina cover, our A cover. There is a Lee and Chung cover,
This
a Jay Lee cover.
Homage, isn't it? Isn't that a Spider-Man homage?
Yeah, kind of.
It's a little,
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. There's a Beren's cover, and there is a Cho cover. These are always so great. And there is a model sheet Virgin variant featuring some notes from Alex Toth.
I always love those. I love reading all his notes about move this around and this is this color.
Yeah, because that one's cool because it doesn't have like the V with the ghost at the point of it. It's just like a symbol.
Also, to not have it blacked in, to have
and he doesn't have his gauntlets. Yeah.
Okay, next up we got cool covers because there's some cool covers this week. Starting off with Amazing Spider-Man at number 53. And we all know what's going on now in Amazing Spider-Man with the Spider-Goblin. It doesn't tell us a whole lot more in the solicitation for this one or anything, but Spider-Goblin is on a rampage. And who can stop him and Norman Osborn? Because don't forget, Norman Osborn is back to being Green Goblin again. So it's just not looking good. The Sinister Six are kind of the heroes in this, I guess. At least they're the
lesser of 2 evils.
Yeah, exactly. You know? So who knows what's going to happen? But we got some cool covers for you. So this is our A cover, of course, featuring the Goblin. It's not like with Green Goblin you can call him Goblin. It's like
Spider Goblin.
Spider Goblin. Next we have the Ivan Bigarella Disney homage variant they've been doing.
Not an Avengers comic. This is still a Spider-Man.
Still duping people every week.
Yeah, right.
And then there's also this really cool Tony Daniel Spider-Man versus Aliens cover.
Oh,
It took me a minute to see the aliens,
right.
But I wouldn't mind seeing that story too.
Oh, for sure. All right, next is Avengers number 16. So this is a Blood Hunt tie-in. I believe it's the last issue of their... Number 15 is going to come out next week, which is the second part of their tie-in. It's my favorite tie-in so far. But in this one, Baron Blood strikes, and will Captain America's ragtag group... ragtag group of heroes be able to handle Baron Blood's army of vampires. Plus, what's interesting about this one is it says, what is next for the Avengers Emergency Response Team? And we just got the news a couple days ago about the new Avengers Assemble series that's coming out in September that sees Steve Rogers, Captain America, putting together a new group of Avengers and taking on different threats. And it's kind of the thing we talked about before where it's a large roster, but then he picks whoever is most appropriate for whatever mission. And it sounds like every issue is a new mission. So that series sounds awesome. And we're going to see maybe some of the seeds of that in this right here. So that should be really cool. So we have this Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe variant. And there is a I'm off here. We got a Marco Colo Stormbreakers variant too. That's really cool, featuring the I don't remember the issue number. Wolverine 20 something.
But this time
by Jim Lee, but this time Deadpool's there. Yeah.
Now we've got some more of these Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe covers, some really cool ones. So this is the one for Daredevil number 11, and this is by Williams, of course, kind of an homage to the Death of Elektra.
Yeah.
And then we also have one for Ghost Rider Final Vengeance number 5. And it does not have it listed. Let's see. This is Jonas. Which, with his head being Hellfire, I don't think you could put it out normally, but it's just silly.
A for effort, Deadpool.
A for effort. It's just a silly thing, Deadpool.
Next is Spider-Boy number 9, and in this one, Spider-Boy goes up against the Spider-Verse. So Spider-Boy is getting his own kind of sort of Spider-Verse story.
He's getting the crash course in everything Peter's done.
Yeah, he's had clones and all kinds of stuff. In this one, Spider-Boy is trapped in the web of life and destiny. He's tumbling through the multiverse, and it says it's going to feature at least one Spider that we have seen before, but never in a comic book. I don't know who's left. They've covered everybody.
Tobey Maguire or something?
Maybe, I don't know. So that should be really interesting to see. Plus, Spider-Boy's just a fun book. So we have our A cover here. We have a Mark Bagley variant. And we have a Deadpool kills a Marvel Universe variant. I'd like to see them team up together and do stuff.
Next up, just wanted to feature another one of these really cool. What's the technical term? The style guide.
Style guide, yeah. This just says Jose Luis Garcia Lopez Spotlight wraparound variant, but I believe this is from the style guide. This is from that
style guide that they're going to be releasing soon. That has all of these that everyone had to follow.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
So this is the one for Shazam number 13. So that is another really cool one.
This is Poison Ivy number 124. I'm sorry, Poison Ivy number 24.
Wow, has another 100 issues.
I mean, it got extended to an ongoing, but it hasn't been running that long. So in this one, it says this is the death of Pamela Isley. That neither her powers nor her allies are enough to stop the Floronic Man's plan to turn Ivy's victims against her, but time is running out, so she realizes that to stop him, she'll have to kill both her creator and herself. So sounds like maybe something big's coming for Poison Ivy, but I'm behind on this series, so I don't know for sure. But this is a cool David Nakayama cover.
Next up, I always want to show these off.
Yeah.
This is Local Man number 11, and just continuing this fantastic series by Tim Seeley and Tony Fleeks. But they've been doing these homage covers to classic Image books and all of that. And this one, this is the homage of Cyberforce number 8 that had Ripclaw on it. And these are all the covers I buy for them for this book. I love it. There was the one that was like Fathom. There's been so many great ones. So just wanted to show this really cool homage cover. And next up we got graphic novels and more. And there's quite a few this week. Some really good ones.
This one is the Elseworlds Justice League trade paperback. So we know that I think we already had one Batman one. And they are collecting all the different Elseworlds stories in various trade paperbacks, grouping them by character. This one is the Justice League. This is going to be $34.99 and just collects a whole bunch of different Elseworld stories like the League of Justice battling Sorcerer Luthor. There's one with Diana Prince and the Justice Riders against the evil robber Baron Maxwell Lord. I think maybe that's that one right there. There's Batman and Superman as pulp heroes, and there's a gender-reversed World's Finest teaming up to save Lex Luthor. So just some really cool Elseworld stories, and we know we're going to get more. We're going to get another Batman, a Superman, and Wonder Woman maybe? I can't remember. But yeah, super cool. This one comes out in August.
Next up, we have Titans Beast World. This is the trade paperback collection of that event. So maybe if you missed out on it, it was very, very good. The art is phenomenal in this. So this collects Beast World 1 through 6 and Titans number 6 through 7, which help kind of round out this really cool story that we're still getting the ramifications of with Absolute Power.
Yeah.
This was one of Amanda Waller's things she did to kind of seed distrust for the Titans.
Yeah. Next is, I'm really excited for this.
I've already pre-ordered this.
Me too. So this is the Superman, the Triangle Era Omnibus Volume 1. This is going to be $125. And it's going to collect Superman. Well, it's going to collect a bunch of different issues.
You'd be saying a lot if you think.
So if you don't know, the Triangle Era back in the 90s, it started with Superman number 51, I believe. And there were four different Superman titles at the time. And so what they did was they started putting a triangle on the cover so you would know what order to read all four in. So you had the issue numbers up top, Superman 50 and 51 and 52, but then you also had the triangle numbers. So Superman 51 was number 1, was the first one, and then, Action Comics, whatever number that was number 2. So if you bought every book each week and maybe you got behind, you knew the order to read, because a lot of times they would tell a single story across all four titles instead of doing what they do now where Superman has a story and Action Comics has one. They would tell one story across all of them, and those triangle numbers helped you keep up with the reading order. And there's a bunch of stuff in this, too much to mention right here, but you've got creators like Dan Jurgens, Louise Simonson, Roger Stern, Jerry Ordway, like some of the Superman greats in this. And I can't wait. If you pair this with the Man of Steel hardcovers that came out a while back, there's still about 20 issues missing in between, but that gives you a nice collection of Superman right from the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths all the way through the mid 90s.
Yeah.
Plus you stick Death of Superman on the end of that. That's a good chunk of 90s Superman.
Yeah, very cool. Next up, we have the trade paperback for the series that just wrapped up, Star Wars Mace Windu Twilight Run. This was a really interesting series. Takes place before Phantom Menace. Back when, the Mace was on the Jedi Council, but the Jedi were still doing pretty good at this point. We'll say that. But there was this big heist, and Mace went to go track it down. He ran into this whole cult. It was really interesting. So this collects the miniseries, which was 4 issues, 1 through 4. Plus, this has the kind of intro to it that was in the Star Wars Revelations #1. Just a couple of pages material that kind of sets the stage for this miniseries. And that is going to be $15.99.
Well, this is the What If Into the Multiverse Omnibus Volume 2. So this one is also going to be $125 and collects What If, the series from the 90s, numbers 40 through 75, and it has a whole bunch of different stories in it, but a couple of samples are what if Spider-Man never lost his 4 extra arms, what if the Hulk killed Wolverine, and what if Doctor Doom was Earth's Sorcerer Supreme, and a whole bunch of other stuff as well. What if Silver Surfer had the Infinity Gauntlet? I think I love What If. I love just all these, one-off stories.
One-off stories.
Yep.
You just read one, put it down, enjoy it.
Absolutely. I always wanted to do a thing like reading some issues of What If, and then when they really did happen, compare the two to see. But yeah, so this is Volume 2. Don't miss that one. Now, we do have 2 covers. This is our standard edition cover that will be available at bookstores everywhere, but there's also a direct market cover featuring one of the other stories, what if it was the Avengers who defeated Galactus instead of the Fantastic Four at the beginning. And that is only available at comic book stores like ours.
Awesome. Next up, I love this one. This is a series I recommend to a lot of people, but it's been hard to get for a little while. Yeah. This is Fatale Compendium. So this is by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, who have gone on to do so much stuff. Of course, they've done Criminal. They've done all of those kind of one-shot hardcover stories, all crime, noir feeling. This one was my favorite because it has a little twist to it. So this was a 24-issue series. This is all collected here. And it's a mix of crime noir and Lovecraftian horror. It takes place between like the 50s all the way to the 70s, where we follow our character Josephine, who is cursed, and she maybe has powers that people would kill for. Mixed with, you've got burnout actors and ex-cult groupies are caught in a web around a dark film. It's just a really cool, to see a very traditional kind of Brubaker story that's very dark and crime. But then, there's some creepy monsters under a house, that kind of thing. Really, really cool. So I highly recommend this one. And you can get the full compendium for $59.99.
This is Doom #1, or the one-shot that came out a while back. This is the second print. This issue was really cool. It was a one-shot, one and done, Doom versus Galactus, essentially. And I don't know why, but it skyrocketed in value. I'm not really sure why, but it was just a really cool story. The artwork was great, written by Jonathan Hickman and Sanford Green. I think Sanford Green actually did more of the writing, and Hickman helped, tidy it up. And then Sanford Green did the pencils as well. But if you missed it the first time, this is the second print. And I believe this was one of the pages. It was a double-page spread from the inside. Very cool. Yeah, so...
Next up, we've got Spider-Gwen the Ghost Spider. This is the issue #1, second printing Sousa variant. But this is cool because this was the foil variant for the first one, but this is just unfoiled. But if you missed that, it's a great issue 1. I'm very excited to see where this series goes. So definitely pick this one up if you haven't yet.
And then next is the second printing for Grommets #1. This was great about...
It's been a kind of a breakout hit.
Yeah, I loved the first issue about 2 kids named Rick and Brian, named after Rick Remender and Brian Posehn, the writers. It's a fictional story, but loosely based on their lives growing up, being around skateboard and skater culture. And I think we're going to get the second issue here in a couple weeks. But yeah, second print for this one. I believe this was. Actually, I don't think this is a new cover. I don't think it was part of the.
Yeah.
It wasn't part of the book. So a brand new cover there.
And that is it for Comics from the Future. Thank you so much for watching. This was a big show, so hopefully you got a better idea of the kind of stuff to expect and the kind of stuff to be looking out for when you go to do your pre-orders over at infinityflux.net. So we've got our big show coming up, like we mentioned, on Monday.
Big show on Monday.
Big old stack of books next to me that I'm going to be reading over the weekend to talk about on Monday, but some more heavy hitters there and continuations of some of our favorite series. So don't miss out on that. Make sure to like and subscribe for more comic goodness. And well, I know we've been teasing it like for a year now. There's a lot of big stuff coming. Definitely.
There really is.
There really is. We were working on it right before this show. And some, maybe look out for June, July area. Some cool stuff coming your way. So subscribe if you want to see more of our smiling faces.
And comic books too, but mostly our faces, yeah.
But until next time, see ya.